Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. See if I can still button my coat. Yeah, surprising. It's the only one. Well, I'm here at least partially to introduce our guest of honor, and I guess the short backstory of this is that just 6 months ago we were here. I was there, and at the last moment in the meeting, I was surprised and delighted and humbled, and those are all true adjectives, by the announcement of a perpetual fund, an eponymous, that's for you, Bill, an eponymous fund that would offer a grant of $1,000 each year to a deserving individual or organization whose mission matched ours, which is feeding the hungry in Philadelphia. So I left that meeting, drove home, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, John, don't screw this up. This is a pretty nice opportunity and some obligation to do a good job. And so I started pretty much immediately scanning the web to see what the options are in terms of food banks or soup kitchens. There are a lot of choices out there, but in my initial foray, I didn't find any that seemed to be the kind of match that I was hoping for or looking for. And that was a little discouraging because I'm thinking, okay, this might be more difficult than I imagined. So I waited till after the holidays, and then I had lunch with a buddy of mine who served with me as an usher and greeter at church, and told him what was going on. He said, well, you know, I may have a guy who might be able to help you out with some suggestions. Well, it turns out he did, and he did. And so I ended up with a list of about three agencies, and I started looking into them. I don't remember exactly what order your esteemed organization was in that search, but when I got to the name and looked up the simple way online, I found the website, which is beautifully done, if I may say so. It's simple, nicely organized, lots of important and engaging information, nice photographs, links to several videos, so it really seemed to click. I then went out just to do my due diligence and tried to get some additional information in social media on the organization and its director. And as I just shared with Caz, I did find her on Facebook, and to her everlasting credit, she has ignored my friend request. So, I'm not sure. Thank you, Bob. Such a short memory you have. So in any case, that fueled my desire to speak with her directly, which I did. And of course, the moment I heard that mellifluous, moderated Kiwi voice coming through the phone, I was done for. I mean, the game was over, and this was definitely going to be my recommendation, which the board ratified. So, if you can join me on your feet, and we'll do the more formal. I'll try not to fall over when I do this. So, on behalf of the Spring Garden Soup Society, I would love to present you with a check for $1,000.
Thank you.
And it makes my heart happy, Caz, to picture that money going directly to the acquisition and distribution of food, because I know you do a beautiful job. So, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
The floor is yours.
We are an organisation that has been planted in the Kensington neighbourhood for the last, well, almost 25 years. 25 years this January, and it started with 6 friends who were at Eastern University that were moved by their studies and by their faith to care about people in general, and they were moved by initially 100 homeless women and children who had been living in an abandoned church in the Kensington neighbourhood, who that particular church had actually asked all of them to move out. And so there was a group of people that joined the movement to advocate to the city that there should be some more housing and fair housing for women and children who found themselves homeless. So that initially started this group of friends saying we want to live alongside people in a way that challenges our faith to actually have feet on it. And 25 years later, one of those 6 people are still a part of the organisation and is my next door neighbour. We have gone through many iterations as an organisation and as a community in the last 25 years. And it's been my honour to be the director at that organisation for the last 8 of those years. And my work has been sort of moving the organisation from its founder and foundations to what it is today. And we would identify ourselves as a small organisation and a group of people who live in and around the neighbourhood, who all put our hands in together and say we want to be good neighbours, and we want to participate in building a neighbourhood that we can all be proud of, and where all of us thrive together. And so we've always given food out in some iteration over the last 25 years. It started by sharing meals around a table, and grew to giving hot soup out of the back door of the kitchen, to groups of people going foraging food and what is named as dumpster diving, to some more reputable ways of receiving food through partnerships with Fill Abundance and Share, and we do some retail rescue food that is about to be thrown out by grocery stores that's actually still really good, viable food for families to eat. So we do the work of gathering the food, and we used to just fill bags of food and have people line up outside and give people food that way, which is a meaningful way for people to receive food who are in urgent need of food. But we found that we were getting the same 100 people line up on our line, line up in a line every week. And so we said, this is not necessarily an urgent need or emergent need, it's a constant need, and people find themselves food insecure, where they're having to make really hard decisions about whether they pay for this milk, bread, rice, beans, whatever they are feeding their family that day, or whether they pay to keep their lights on, or pay for the new pair of shoes for their child to have to go to school. And so we shifted about 4 years ago to what we have today, which is a food choice pantry. So the way that our pantry works currently is that people line up and everyone gets 15 points to spend, and they can shop in the pantry and choose the food that they want to feed their families. So all of our fresh produce is free. Anything that we have that we have plenty of, we try to make it free or as low a point as possible. And so most days that we're open, we have about 60 people a day. So we have up to about 150 people a week coming to shop for food for their family. And most of I would say 85% of the people that are coming to our food pantry come once a week. And so families rely on this source of food. They know that they can always get their rice with us, or they can always get some kind of fresh produce. They generally can always get some kind of meat and some kind of milk. And then they can decide to use the resources that they are getting in other ways, and they can begin to budget differently when they know what they can rely on. And so it's become really important for us to find ways to sustain that work, for us to be able to have that kind of food there on that regularity, and so donations like this are essential to our work, and it's how we survive. We've also moved to, our organisation was always volunteer-based, and we found that most of those volunteers were coming from outside the neighbourhood and might be able to help us once in a blue moon, or not in a regular way, which does not help us when we're trying to offer food in this more regular, more consistent way. And so I've been able to move the organisation to where we now employ 9 people, and 5 of those people work in the food pantry, and 4 out of the 5 people that run the food pantry are all people who initially came to us to receive food, and so now they are running the food pantry and we're able to pay a livable wage, which is a commitment and a lot of work to raise the money for. So I just want to say thank you for considering us. I'm glad that you enjoyed our online presence, and you would be welcome to come and join us in real life if you would like, anytime. Just let me know. And I would say that I will go home and probably befriend you on Facebook.
Well, you know, thank you very much. I'll note that it was actually hard to just, without knowing, before I knew the name of the organization, it didn't come up in my search by category. So I'm thinking we should probably get in touch with Elon Musk and see what he can do about that.
Yeah, right.
Where in Kensington you're located?
Yeah, so we are located 1 block off the Elm at the intersection of Kensington and Allegheny. So it's most commonly known as K&A, yeah, which you would know. And we are right at the heart of the opioid crisis here in Philadelphia. And I would say that in my 13 years of living in the neighborhood, this is the toughest time that, and I was talking to a neighbor who's lived on our block for 32 years, and she said this is the worst that she's seen things. And so we are definitely up against, you know, we have people that, we have families who are working really hard to provide for their families and to live well and to thrive, but they're up against some other really hard things that are happening in and around us, and some of the things that we experience as devastating, you know, could change, but the reality that some people don't have enough money to pay for all of their family needs is beyond just what's happening in Kensington as well. So there's just so many complexities to our life there. I came to be in Philadelphia back in 2004 through an organization called Mission Year, which is a 1-year volunteer service program that brings people to the city to live and work for a year. And then I stayed and went on to meet people at the Simple Way. So that's how I came to be here, and then I married an American, and so that 1 year has turned into almost 18, and I have 2 small children, and we live right across the street from the organization. Partly that's part of our commitment, right, to live in proximity to the people that we're serving and the people that, you know, it changes how I do things. That's why the food pantry needed to change, was because my friends were always standing on the line, and I realized it wasn't just, you know, an emergency food bag that they needed an ongoing constant support. So my hope is to grow the work where we would be open 5 days a week, like Monday, sort of like a grocery store, and that we would have more employees that are from the neighborhood, so we could give the money that's given to us back into the neighborhood, and that we would continue to grow the work. And it wouldn't just be giving out food, but it would be building community. And that's what we have. We have people that are coming to us, we know their names and we know their circumstances, and we connect them to other resources. So yeah, it's a meaningful work to be a part of, and I'm glad to share it with you. And I think it's important that that people know and to hear, and that we can begin to see that your life can impact the lives of the people where I'm living, and vice versa.